Good evening. It is Wednesday, July 5th, 2023, and welcome to the Town of Carmel Town Board. This is a voting meeting, and we're going to have a work session after that. We have a special presentation to start with, and also we have two public hearings. So we're going to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone please rise and face the flag. Councilwoman McDonough will lead us.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence to remember all of the men and women fighting for our freedom. Thank you.
What's this? This yours? Thanks. Well, that makes better sense. So, thank you. I hope everybody had a great 4th of July, celebrating our independence. Tonight we have a presentation of the Carnegie Award. The Carnegie Award is a medal that's given out to people in the United States and in Canada for heroic deeds that go above and beyond, things that you're risking life and serious injury. We have a New York State Environmental Conservation Officer, Daniel Franz, here, and some of his coworkers. Just to tell you what went on with that, I'll do that from the plaque. We have a plaque and that award. Hang on. I like it better. I like the plaque better. If you don't mind. No. So, Officer Franz, if you could come up, please, sir. So while on patrol on April 7, 2022, New York State Conservation Officer Daniel Franz, he observed a vehicle that went off the road and was perched on an embankment, sitting on a wall like 7 feet high, and there was a driver trapped in it. And taking like no care for himself, he went, tried to get the driver out, right? You had to go to the back seat. You had to calm his dog and get his dog out of the car, go back and get this driver. You had to pull him out even though his foot was stuck in there. The vehicle caught on fire. You protected him from the fire and just were an overall hero with a car that's just hanging over the reservoir down an embankment and with absolutely no regard for your own personal safety. And that is just an amazing feat. And this is why the people at Carnegie have this award for him. We have our Congressman, Michael Lawley, here from the 17th District also. And we're going to give you, we have a proclamation from the town board. Which basically that says all of those things that we just were saying. Oh. I'm going to read the whole thing again? Great. So, Daniel Franz, in this proclamation, you're a resident of Mahopac and employed as an officer with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. And on April 7th, 2022, while on patrol near the reservoir in Carmel, you observed an SUV straddling the wall to an embankment adjacent to the reservoir. And courageously, you climbed down the rock wall to the vehicle, observed the driver and his pet. The dog was still in the vehicle, and you assisted with other responders arrived. You removed the dog. The vehicle became engulfed in flames, and Officer Franz single-handedly removed the driver, whose leg was trapped in the vehicle, by grabbing him under his arms and pulling him out safely. You moved the driver away from the flames, shielding him until the responders arrived, and transported the driver by ambulance to the hospital where he survived severe injuries and today the town of Carmel celebrates Officer Franz for his valiant and courageous actions. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel gratefully acknowledges Daniel Franz as a true hero and acknowledges Daniel Franz as the recipient of the Carnegie Hero Award and proclaims Daniel Franz to be an outstanding citizen and friend, and is hereby awarded this proclamation. Thank you very much. Look at this amazing thing. Mike? Did you want to say something?
Sure. Well, it's great to be here with all of you. And, you know, so often in our daily lives, we hear of incidents where tragedy ensues. We hear of incidents between citizen and law enforcement. We don't always hear of the great work that the men and women in law enforcement do every day to protect, to defend, to ensure the safety and well-being of our residents. And this is but one example of hundreds that get performed daily in the Hudson Valley. And we are grateful to the men and women in law enforcement, but especially grateful today for Officer Franz and the work that he did, quick to action, to save the life of a resident here in Carmel and ensure their well-being. And I think it speaks volumes to who you are, and it speaks volumes to why you chose the profession that you did. Because so often people in law enforcement, our first responders, put themselves in harm's way without thinking, without hesitating. It is their instinct to do that. And that is exactly what you did here. And since 1904, this medal has been given out to over 10,000 American and Canadian citizens for being true heroes in our community. And one of the great parts of my job is to be able to come to events like this, or to recognize people in our community who are really doing the hard work. You know, a lot of times we get recognition as elected officials and get to speak at events, but the reality is across our community there's so many people who really make our community the great place that it is to live, to work, to raise a family, and it's people like you who have done that. So on behalf of the United States Congress, on behalf of the town of Carmel and Putnam County, we are really honored to present the Carnegie Medal to you for your commitment and your heroism and what you've done to be able to save the life of a fellow resident here. So God bless you and your family, and congratulations.
So I was with our Congressman, 94th District, Matt Slater, today with the Belden House situation, and he's unable to make it this evening, but he wanted me to tell you that he's very proud also that you're one of our constituents. The Putnam County Legislature also has a recognition certificate. Erin Crowley from the 9th District, that's my legislative district, they want to present you with this too.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Stand in the middle, yes.
So that's, I guess, from the Carnegie family. Is you? So we can do And are we doing the public hearings first? Public hearings first?
Doesn't make a difference. Somebody.
Yeah. Okay, I just gotta put my glasses back on. Okay. Okay, so back to the meeting. I call this town board meeting in order, and I ask our town clerk, Ann Spofford, to please do a roll call attendance.
Councilman Baranowski?
Here.
Councilman Lombardi?
Here.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Here.
Councilman Shannon?
Here.
Supervisor Kazari?
Here. We have two public hearings. The first one is in relation to the proposed increase and improvements of facilities of Carmel Water Districts 1, 2, 8, 10, and 13 in each district of the construction if improvements to the water district tanks. Can I get a motion, right, or you have to read it first?
Yeah, I can read it first.
Oh, thank you.
Notice is hereby given that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, Putnam County, New York, will meet at the Town Hall, 60 McAlpin Avenue, in Mahopac, New York, on July 5th, 2023, at 7 o'clock p.m. prevailing time, for the purpose of conducting a respective public hearing upon a certain map plan and report, including a revised estimate of cost in relation to the proposed increase and improvements of the facilities of Carmel Water Districts number 1, 2, 8, 10, and 13 in said town, consisting in each district of the construction of improvements to the district water tank or shared water tank and related equipment and site improvements, including original furnishings, equipment, machinery, apparatus, appurtenances, and incidental improvements and expenses in connection therewith, at a revised maximum cost of $71,315 to Carmel Water District Number 1, an increase of $18,400. $3,762,615 to Carmel Water District Number 2, an increase of $700,000. $652,796 to Carmel Water District Number 8, an increase of $117,000. $151,158 to Carmel Water District Number 10, an increase of $39,000, and $99,221 to Carmel Water District Number 13, an increase of $25,600. Said capital projects have been determined to be a Type 2 action pursuant to the regulations of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, promulgated pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA, the implementation of which, as proposed, said regulations provide will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. At said public hearing, said town board will hear all persons interested in the subject matter thereof. Dated Mahopac, New York, June 8, 2023, by order of the town board of the town of Carmel, Putnam County, New York, Ann Spofford, town clerk.
Thank you. Could we get a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Seconded by Channel. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So the public hearing is now open on this topic with the water tanks. Did anybody? No? All right, seeing as how there is no public comments, consider a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
In a second? Seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, our second public hearing is in relation to the proposed increase and improvements of the facilities of the Lake Mahopac Park District. Could you read that, please, Ann?
Notice is hereby given that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, Putnam County, New York, will meet at the Town Hall in Mahopac, New York, in said town, on the 5th day of July, 2023, at 7:00 p.m. prevailing time for the purpose of conducting a public hearing upon a certain map plan and report, including an estimate of costs prepared in relation to the proposed increase and improvement of the facilities of the Lake Mahopac Park District in the Town of Carmel, Putnam County, New York, being the construction of improvements to the Lake Mahopac Dam, including incidental improvements and expenses in connection therewith. The maximum estimated cost of the aforesaid increase and improvement of the facilities of the Lake Mahopac Park District in the town is $475,000, consisting of $300,000 plus $175,000 heretofore authorized for engineering assessment expenses. Said capital project hereinafter described as proposed has been determined to be a Type 2 action pursuant to the regulations of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, promulgated pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, which regulations state that Type 2 actions will not have any significant adverse impact on the environment. And at said public hearing, said town board will hear all persons interested in the subject matter thereof. The town board will make every effort to assure that the public hearing is accessible to persons with disabilities. Anyone requiring special assistance and/or reasonable accommodations should contact the town clerk. Dated Mahopac, New York, June 8th, 2023, by order of the town board of the Town of Carmel, Putnam County, New York, Ann Spofford, town clerk.
Thank you. Can you get a motion to open that public hearing?
So moved.
Seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. All in favor?
Aye.
Seeing as how there's no one that wants to comment on the public hearing, can I consider a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Seconded by McDonough. All those in favor? Aye. Very good. So moving on to our regular town board meeting, we've got 10 items for resolutions. First off, anyone wants to make a public comment, just go up to the microphone. Please limit it to 5 minutes. State your name and where you live, please.
Hi, my name is Maria Barry, and I'm with Gail Driscoll Silk, and we know many of you, and we've been running the flag program in the hamlet of Carmel and up in Kent, and we've been trying to get some clarification on what's going on with the program here in Carmel itself. I've sent a few emails, no replies. I have spoken to Susie a few times, but we keep going round and round. So the town attorney's here. I know he was involved. So can we get some clarification what is going on with that program here? Because flags are still getting hung in our district, and they're copying our flags, and this is a program for the veterans. And when we started our program and discussed, we can go back to, it was on TV here, we are donating from our flags where we are $25 to veterans causes. We've donated tens of thousands of dollars to various causes in Putnam County. We're volunteers. Without naming any names, we don't feel that that's been done here, and they're also now infringing on the area where our flags are. So I'd like some answers, because silence really isn't an answer. And I know it's summer, and it's just very frustrating. We're all volunteers, and we need to do what's right for the veterans of this county. We all love our veterans. Putnam County loves their veterans. And a person only has their word, and that's what we want people to be held to. So,
So,
do you have anything to add?
hi, Maria and Gail. Gail, you want to say something?
Yes, so
Yeah.
the vendor that we currently use, as of this morning, sent the local fella or group here a letter to cease and desist, and that if he doesn't hear by Friday, he's going to get an attorney to go after him. He's copyrighted, which his banners are copyright protected, our banners, which are now being hung on the same flags, same poles as us. And we have given $7,000 donation. The other person here hasn't given a penny. Susie, you're the one that told him to increase it to $200, so $25 had to go to the local veterans, and a penny hasn't been given. So, you know, you guys know I did the program. My brother was killed in 9/11. He was a CB. Maria's dad was 2 when he was killed in Vietnam. This program, we're both retired. We're not business, we're residents. This means everything to us. And by the looks of it, our county is full of veterans, and we should do the right thing for veterans. I mean, $25, I gave out $7,000 the first year. I'm buying a service dog for a veteran. That's another few $1,000s. For this person not to give any, and that was the deal that was made, is very heart-wrenching. And I think when the public finds out, you know, I tried my best. Reached out to him, no, he's not gonna, he'll give in his own. But you know what? It's 2 years the program started. And we need to hold him accountable.
Yeah. Yeah. So, oh, yeah, go ahead.
I'd like people to finish their talk and they sit down and you can make comments. I don't want this back and forth that used to go on then,
Okay.
all right?
And that's why we sent you love notes, because back in April, he started putting them up in our discussed locations, because we want to keep it unified. I want to keep my banners, his banners here. He's up to over 200 banners. And I want to keep it unified. I'm not going to do his program. So we just need some clarification. If you could talk to him, that's what we want. We just want it to be, and do it for the veterans.
Thank you very much.
Okay? Thank you.
Yeah.
So if you want to.
There are some answers, and like you said, we have the attorney here, the counsel here, and everyone. So when I sent the email out to the business owner, I was not supposed to, because I'm not supposed to dictate what businesses do or cannot do, charge or not do. So, you know, that was my fault. Never heard from them, but I guess I sent it in error, which I did not know. But I did put this together, actually the other day, Maria, after I spoke with you on, I think it was last Friday, I put an email together as a draft to send to both you and Gail regarding it. I just needed some clarification, and now with counsel here, he can probably clarify anything that I don't have in here. But as we are all aware, the Veterans Banner Project was started by Olivia for her Girl Scout Gold Award. This project has since concluded, and therefore the town of Carmel has concluded this project. That being said, in speaking with Greg and the town board, organizations or individuals such as yourself can do this and continue this wonderful program for the veterans. The Highway Department is under their own discretion that they will participate in hanging the banners. We as the town board or myself cannot direct the highway to put banners up or not put banners up, since that is an elected position. Personally, this program has been a beautiful way to honor our veterans, and I've been privileged and honored to be part of it. And I also want to thank the past and current town board for their efforts in approving Olivia to do this project. With that being said, I want to thank Maria and Gail, because you have your ceremony, I know, in front of the courthouse with the veterans and their families. I mean, it's just absolutely beautiful. And like you said before, you've given out thousands of dollars to the program. But, and Greg can clarify this, as far as the town goes, just like an Eagle Scout project, this was a Girl Scout project, it's done here. So the town, meaning like no more banners should be going up at the town of Carmel, Susie McDonough, because that ended, per se. But, right, Greg and Mike, can you say it more eloquently than I can?
Just for the merits of the program, obviously for the recognition
Thanks, Chief.
of the veterans and their service. My recollection was that the town board didn't undertake any part of the program other than to be supportive of it. There was no determination by the board to contribute to it. The banners are not being hung on town property. They're being placed on utility poles that are owned by NYSEG or AT&T or whoever. So our position is that it's not a town-sponsored project on a town-owned property. So our control of it is limited. The copyright is clearly a separate issue, and that was one of the first things that came to my mind when you talked about the design and the dress of the banners, that somebody came up with a version of them and somebody may be infringing on that, and there may be private rights to be enforced in that regard. But to the best of my recollection, in 2020 or 2021, when it came up, the town board didn't undertake any initiative to say they are funding or sponsoring any portion of either the manufacture of the banners or any of the hardware to raise them. So we can't be in a position to dictate who has a specific geographic region of the town and who's placing or who's manufacturing or creating whatever banners. So that's something you can visit at a future time by an act of the town board if you wanted to do that. But to this point, it hasn't been done. To the best of my recollection, the supervisor and I went back and looked through the minutes and the resolutions, and I don't think we found anything to that effect. So that's what kind of ties your hands at this particular moment.
So when this first started, we did buy banners, and I know we tried to get them from your guys, but we weren't allowed to because it was going through Amazon, not the banners, the brackets and all. And we did, just for transparency, back then, we all met with, we all meaning Gail, Maria, and myself, met with Superintendent of Highways, Michael Simone, and we did come up with a, because there was two groups hanging the flags, one in Mahopac, one in Carmel. So just a little bit of background, so everybody knows for transparency. And the one set in Carmel was going to go to a certain point in Mahopac to Carmel, and then Carmel was going to take over. So we've had that, but now that the program is completed per se, with the Gold Award, that it's completed. So I don't know if that really answers your questions.
No, I just have to say something. I'm sorry. So the Gold Award portion was completed well before Gail started the program Up By Us. We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not everybody sitting here. That portion was completed. When we started it, that's when he started it up again. She had gone to him to see if we could do the banners, but then when it started getting big up there, that's when this all came to play. We talked about areas, we talked about donations. I understand everybody now is like, oh, this is that, we're paying for the brackets, we're not. The bottom line is, somebody needs to be accountable for their word. So I understand you're saying the program is complete.
Right.
The Gold Award was complete years ago, before we started this. It was, because he
Right.
was not making banners or anything
Right.
at that point.
No, Marie, he has continuously made banners.
How many did he
But-
make from the time she graduated high school and completed that award till we started up?
Right, but Maria, what I'm telling you is that the veterans, like you and Gail, and many people in this town, they're dear to my heart, all right? I do a
course.
Veterans Thanksgiving dinner every year for 500 veterans.
That's not what's in
Okay?
question.
So what I wanted to do, and I guess I did it rogue, if you want to call it, is I continued it, because it meant it was important, okay? But now, with council, it's not a town function thing. That's why we can't purchase the back brackets. I can't say to somebody, you have to charge this amount. I can't do it anymore.
But
Things
you
have changed.
did.
I did, yes, I did.
You did.
And I've never said that I didn't.
And
And
the
I did it,
reason-
and I did it proudly. I did it very proudly, too, because
we all.
the
We're all
bottom
here for the
line
same
to me is for what's hanging up on all of these poles here. And that's the only reason why I did it. I didn't do it for anything else other than to get the veterans their honor. And unfortunately now, I don't know where it leaves us, but it's with the town of Carmel, per se. I don't know. I don't know.
So Susie, you were on the committee, our committee, just as you were for his banner, you're called the project manager. I don't know what role you had with the Mahopac fella, but our role, you, Kenny Schmidt, Richie Oppenmer, and Lynn,
Jason
and
McGlasson.
your sister-in-law.
Yep.
That was our committee. We discussed it, I got permission, we did Zoom calls. Then, we got approved on May 5th, 2021, because we wanted to roll out the program. That person we're speaking about wrote you and Ken a love note about Shop Putnam, keep it in Putnam. You called me, oh, what are we gonna do? I came to a meeting, I discussed why I picked this vendor, who's veteran-owned, veteran employees.
Yep.
we got the permission, we go. I got 6
And
Carmel
less
High
money.
School kids, their banners. Mike and Somers use them, Puck
Yep.
Valley, all around us use the same thing. Look, I'm not saying anything, but we had that meeting once he wrote this letter that he was gonna
Mm-hmm.
do whatever, and it was agreed upon that I would do Drewville Road. I had the maps.
Yep.
And I said, Carmel ends here, Mahopac starts here. And we agreed. And then he complained mine was $25 more. You told him to up it to $200, so $25 had to go to the veterans groups.
Right. Never heard
You
back.
had a lot of play in the game. For now, you're kind of standing back, that the committee, you know.
No,
I don't
you-
know.
so-
I'm not
so
accusing
this
you
is-
of anything. I just
No,
want.
no disrespect, this is not the stuff I want to go on in the meeting.
Okay.
So if you want to,
But that's
Which
why we
Susan
want to
then-
have
I had a meeting
meetings.
with
Yeah.
you, and you were gonna have a meeting,
because
and
there's
then you
no,
said I can't.
because there's no agreement, there's no town board resolution, there's nothing in the past
But
that
call
brings.
us and have a conversation,
I-
not just don't answer
I
an
want,
email.
I want Councilwoman McDonough to address and resolve this with you. This is her program that she sponsored with that, like all the things you're talking about. We don't need to have a whole.
Because we could never get you guys to respond to
But she knows all these things, right? You're saying she was part of it.
Right, and I
So now
have
we're
responded.
done
I-
with it. We are not able to pick one business over another. We are
Okay.
the town board. We
All right,
can't.
so I'll let the veterans groups know that the town can't do anything. Maybe we'll embarrass them. Maybe
mean,
it'll
we
make a
don't-
great.
Well, there's no
read.
agreement to hold him to. I know you're saying someone's word, but that
Right.
doesn't, I looked for
Yes.
a resolution, a contract, an agreement. I did my due
It was
diligence to
supposed to-
try to
It- it
find
was just
something
words.
to
It
hang
was
our hat
just-
on.
It was
There's
a-
It
nothing.
was just an
Meeting
old,
here.
old-fashioned talk
Well, how
between
can he
people.
still go to your highway department and
Because the highway doesn't work for the town board. He's an elected official. We cannot direct him to do anything.
Okay.
really? That's
All right,
interesting.
so going forward, you're not going to buy his brackets. I'll buy my
Oh,
own.
no,
with-
I haven't.
You have.
I
You've
stopped, no,
paid
Wait, Gail, you didn't.
thousands of dollars for the brackets.
Gail, you didn't let me finish. I said, I was going to say, I haven't in a very long time. I have not placed another order in months and months.
Right, because you bought 50
Okay.
and there hasn't been 50 put up.
So, yeah, no, that has come to a close.
Okay.
That has come to a close.
And
I
you've
mean,
told your
ideally, I've
man?
got to be honest, what I would love is just one group to do it throughout the town. But I know you guys don't want to do
Get
Mahopac,
2 different banners.
right? But it still could be done.
No, we're not going to forge his banners, copyright like he copyrighted mine. Okay.
But why couldn't you use, like you were originally going to do, the banners that you're doing all over town? What is the difference?
Because he
And
has
he- and-
191 banners here in the town of Mahopac. They're totally different.
I know,
Right,
why
but
can't-
anyone's moving forward.
I don't want to, look, this is for this program should continue. What he needs
It
to
definitely
do
should continue.
is pay the $5,000 donation that he's owed to the veterans, stick to his territory, and do his banners, and I'm happy with that.
But we have no way of enforcing that. That's
Okay.
what
That's-
the issue is.
that's-
But
the
maybe
thing.
you have a way, if you guys use him for the county for printing, you don't print with him anymore,
We,
something.
I don't know, it's a
I mean, it's
disgrace.
just, it's very unfair to the veterans, and, you know, Susie, I know you're upset as well, because he had total disregard for you.
I am, I'm very upset
Yeah.
with this whole thing.
And
he's
because
radio
it's for the
silent as well.
veterans, you
And
know.
I think if the Mahopac
But-
families that bought a banner realized that $25 was supposed to be donated to the local veterans group and nothing has been given out, I think he's going to be, it's a disgrace.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Marie and Gail, thank you for everything that you guys have done and are continuing to do.
And you've
Yeah.
done an incredible job so far. Keep up
Yeah.
the good work. Well appreciated.
Good.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's nothing stopping you from saying all the things you just said.
And I didn't mean to be disrespectful.
No, no.
I'm just getting a little,
Gail, it's fine, Gail.
It's very tough. It's very tough.
so I can go and have my chat with him too.
So moving on to our first
Thank you.
item.
Thank you.
It's a resolution authorizing improvements at Sycamore Park. Councilman Lombardi, would you read that one?
Sure. Resolve the Town Board of Town of Carmel in connection with the proposed Eagle Scout project of Samuel Grimm, Scout Troop 1, Mahopac. Hereby authorizes the performance of improvements at Sycamore Park in accordance with the memorandum and plans provided by Director of Recreation and Parks James R. Gilchrist, as detailed in his memorandum to the Town Board dated June 13, 2023, and be it further resolved that upon presentation of insurance certificates for all vendors and contractors proposed to perform improvements in connection with this authorization, in form acceptable to Town Council, the aforesaid work may commence. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Channel and Councilwoman McDonough. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Resolution number 1 passed. Second resolution is declaring certain equipment obsolete and authorizing disposal. Councilman Channel, could you read that?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, upon recommendation of Town of Carmel Director of Recreations and Parks, James Gilchrist, in his memo dated June 13, 2023, hereby declares car number P59 2009 Ford F35 dump truck, VIN number 1FDWF37R49EB09202, to be obsolete and authorizes disposal in accordance with the town law, including but not limited to the town law, section 64, subsection 2-A. I offer this resolution as read.
Second?
Seconded by McDonough. Can we have a roll call on that, please, Ann?
Councilman Baranowski.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi. Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Channel.
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari.
Yes, number 2 passed. The third resolution is accepting donation to construct a lacrosse practice wall at Airport Park. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes and accepts the donation from the Mahopac Sports Association to construct a lacrosse practice wall at the Airport Park, and be it further resolved that subject to the provisions of New York State labor law, the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the volunteer construction of the proposed lacrosse practice wall at Airport Park, and be it further resolved that the construction of the proposed lacrosse practice wall shall be constructed and performed in accordance with the plans and specifications provided by Director of Recreation and Parks James R. Gilchrist to the Town Board on June 21st, 2023, as same may be amended thereafter upon consent of the Town Board and the Town Engineer Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., and be it further resolved that upon presentation of insurance certificates from all contractors and/or vendors proposed to install the lacrosse practice wall improvements as set forth herein in form acceptable to Town Council, the aforesaid work may be commenced. I offer this resolution as read.
Second?
Seconded by McDonough and Channel. Can we have a roll call?
Councilman Baranowski.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi. Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Councilman Channel.
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari.
Yes. Number 3 passed. Our fourth resolution is in support of the DARE program, Town of Carmel Police Department. Councilwoman McDonough, could you read that one
Sure.
first?
Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of the Town of Carmel Police Department, has previously established the DARE program within the Town of Carmel Police Department. And whereas the referenced DARE program was incorporated into the Town of Carmel Police Department by virtue of an agreement previously executed between the Town of Carmel and the Town of Carmel Police Benevolent Association. And whereas the officers of the DARE program have been asked to help address the growing issues of drugs and vaping amongst the students within the town's school districts. And whereas it is the Town Board of the Town of Carmel's desire to reinforce drug prevention programs. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of the Town of Carmel Police Department, hereby declares its full and complete support of promptly supporting the extension of the DARE program under the guidance and recommendation of Chief of Police Anthony Hoffman, so that the Town of Carmel Police Department is able to provide said services to the students of the town school districts as soon as possible. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by everyone. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Number 4 passed. Our fifth resolution is amended resolution authorizing emergency purchase of a raw water pump, Carmel Water District Number 8. Councilman Baranowski, could you read that?
Yes. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of Carmel Water District Number 8, on the recommendation of Town Engineer Richard Franzetti. in his memo dated March 27, 2023, hereby accepts the quote dated March 21, 2023, from B&J Plumbing, Mahopac, New York, for the emergency purchase of a raw water intake pump at the Carmel Water District Number 8 treatment facility at a cost not to exceed $17,091, and in accordance with the proposal dated March 21, 2023. And be it further resolved that the cost of said repairs and improvements be assessed proportionately among Carmel Water Districts Number 1, 8, 10, and 13. And be it further resolved that Town Supervisor Michael Kazari is hereby authorized to execute any and all documentation reasonably necessary to effectuate the purchase authorized hereunder. And be it further resolved that Town Comptroller Mary Ann Maxwell is hereby authorized to make any budgetary transfers or modifications required pursuant to this authorization. I offer this resolution as read.
Seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. Can we have a roll call vote?
Councilman Marinowski?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi? Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Shano?
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes. Number 5 passed. Our 6th resolution is in the matter of increase and improvements of the facilities of Carmel Water Districts number 1, 2, 8, 10, and 13 in the town of Carmel, Putnam County, New York. Additional cost, public interest order. Councilman Lombardi?
Whereas by proceeding had hereto and taken, the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, Putnam County, New York, authorizes an increase and improvement of the facilities of Carmel Water Districts number 1, 2, 8, 10, and 13, being in each such district, the construction of improvements in the district water tanks or shared water tank and related equipment and site improvements, including original furnishings, equipment, machinery, apparatus, appurtenances, and incidental improvements, and expenses in connection with thereto at a maximum cost of $71,315 to Carmel Water District number 2, $3,762,615 to Carmel Water District number 2, $652,796 to Carmel Water District number 8, $151,158 to Carmel Water District number 10, and $99,221 to Carmel District number 13. And whereas by order dated June 7, 2023, said town board called a joint public hearing on the question of the increase of the aggregate maximum estimated cost of said project of $900,000 allocated to said water districts and improvements herein at an aggregate maximum estimated cost to said water districts of $4,737,105 of the new aggregated maximum estimated cost of $5,833,890 to all districts. I offer this resolution as pre-filed with the town clerk.
Seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. Can we have a roll call?
Councilman Marinowski?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Shano?
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes. Resolution number 6 passed. Our 7th resolution is authorizing the issuance of an additional $900,000 in bonds for the town of Carmel, Putnam County, New York, to pay parts of the cost of the increase and improvements of facilities for Carmel Water Districts number 1, 2, 8, 10, and 13 in and for said town. Councilman Shano, could you read that?
Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, Putnam County, New York, on August 21st, 2019, July 1st, 2020, and August 11, 2021, duly adopted bond resolutions authorizing the issuance of an aggregate $4,933,890 serial bond of said town to pay the cost of the increase and improvements of the Carmel Water Districts number 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 13, and 14, and in and for the town of Carmel, Putnam County, New York, the water districts, being in each such district, the construction of improvements to the district water tank or shared water tank and related equipment and site improvements, including original furnishings, equipment, machinery, apparatus, appurtenances, and incidental improvements and expansions in connection with and as offered this resolution as pre-filed with the town clerk's office.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lombardi. Can we have a roll call?
Councilman Baranowski?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi? Councilwoman McDonough? Yes. Councilman Shano?
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes, resolution number 7 passed. Number 8 is in the matter of the increase and improvements of facilities for Lake Mahopac Park districts in the town of Carmel, Putnam County, New York, public interest order. Whereas by proceedings heretofore had and taken, the town board of the town of Carmel, Putnam County, New York, authorizes preliminary planning for the construction of improvements of the Lake Mahopac Dam in the Lake Mahopac Park District, including incremental improvements and expenses in connection therein at a maximum estimated cost of $175,000. And whereas by order dated June 7th, 2023, the town board called a public hearing on the question of the increased improvements of the facilities of Lake Mahopac Park District at a maximum estimated cost of $475,000, being $300,000 plus the $175,000 previously authorized for engineering assessment expenses. And whereas notice of said public hearing was duly published and posted in the manner and within the time provided by law, and such public hearing was duly held at a time and place specific in said notice, at which all persons interested in the subject matter thereof were duly heard, and whereas the town board of the town of Carmel has duly considered the evidence given at the public hearing, now therefore be it ordered that the town board of the town of Carmel, Putnam County, New York, as follows: Section 1, upon evidence given at the aforesaid public hearing, it is hereby found and determined that it is necessary and in the public interest to increase the improvement and facilities of the Lake Mahopac Park District in the town of Carmel, Putnam County, New York, in the manner described in the preambles hereof at a maximum estimated cost of $475,000, and said increase and improvements is hereby authorized and approved. Section 2, this order shall take effect immediately, and the question of adoption of the aforesaid order was duly put to a vote on roll, which resulted in the following. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Lombardi and McDonough. Can we have a roll call on that?
Councilman Baranowski?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi? Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Shano?
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes, resolution number 8 passed. Our 9th resolution is authorizing the issuance of an additional $300,000 in bonds for the town of Carmel, Putnam County, New York, to pay part of the cost of the increased and improvements of the facilities at Lake Mahopac Park District in and for said town. Councilwoman McDonough, could you read that?
Sure. This is a resolution authorizing an increase of $300,000 over that previously authorized to $475,000 for the Lake Mahopac Dam. I offer this resolution as pre-filed with the town clerk.
Second.
Seconded.
Seconded by Baranowski and Lombardi. Can we have a roll call on that?
Councilman Baranowski?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi? Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Shano?
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes, resolution number 9 passed. The final resolution is in support of the old Putnam Motors building to be used as open space. Councilman Baranowski, could you read that, number 10?
Certainly, Mr. Supervisor. Do you want to just give a little bit of background on this one, that this is, in particular, that this is just an in support of resolution? Okay, I can do it, that's fine. So I believe it's some of the veterans organizations are lobbying to ask the county not to sell, the old, it was an American Motors building?
It was Adams, the Adams family had it as a Chevy dealer. I got
It
an
was
S10 Blazer there
car
in
dealership when we were
94.
kids.
Yeah.
And it was
Or
kind of county
86.
offices for a while. The building has been vacant for some time. I
United for
believe
the Troops is using it, yep.
Jim Ratchmitt's group has been using it. But anyway, the veterans groups are proposing that instead of selling it, that the building be raised, and for now, anyway, the space be dedicated to open space until such time as perhaps some other use might be found for it. But For me personally, I do agree with them. It is a beautiful location. It sits right in front of the courthouse, and it would sure look beautiful as open space. So anyway, I will read the resolution as you asked.
That is perfect. And also, it's perfect for, like, we were just there for the ceremony, and you're on the sidewalk. It would be,
Yes.
that open space would be great for that, maybe some benches and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. It would be nice, to your point, for some picnic tables and things like that, so, okay. Thank you. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby requests that the Putnam County Legislature not authorize the sale of the real property owned by the County of Putnam, known as the Old Putnam Motors Building, located at 34 Glenida Avenue, Carmel, New York, and be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby requests that said property be converted to open space to provide additional outdoor area for community activities, public events, and ceremonies. Be it further resolved that Town Supervisor Michael Kazari is hereby authorized to transmit a copy of this resolution to Paul Yonke, Chairman, and the Putnam County Legislature immediately. I offer this resolution with pleasure.
Second?
Seconded by McDonough and Lombardi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 10 passed. So we did this similarly for the Belden House. We were getting all those calls. We're still getting them. My chief of staff will attest to that we're getting calls daily still, save the Belden House. So we wrote our letter. We sent it out to the local officials and our representatives. And I actually met with Matt Slater today. He got a response in an email from the mayor of New York City, and his office is, which we can't really say because New York City did promise not to tear it down before, but they're promising not to tear it down. The DEP will not tear it down. So now our next step is to get more than that original 2 million plus, because it needs to be fixed. So we need New York City now. The pressure is to fix the building up, but so we did succeed once with our push. So hopefully that continues.
Very good.
Yeah. So comment-wise, I know the chief is going to mention it. Also, August 1st, the police department is doing the National Night Out, August 1st from 6 to 9 at Chamber Park. It's an opportunity for our community officers, Macomb and Sirio, to bond better with the community, to increase, the presence with the police department, to, form bonds in neighborhoods, but the chief can tell you all that stuff, because I'm messing that up. So there's a blood drive coming up on the 4th of August at 10 o'clock, 10 to 3 at Town Hall. It's sponsored by our 94th District Assemblyman Matt Slater. So Carmel Town Hall blood drive, Friday, August 4th, 10 to 3. And I won't tell about our next meeting, but it's our next meeting is going to be Wednesday the 2nd. And everybody has to turn out for the parade tomorrow night, 7 o'clock at the Mahopac Fire Department. It goes from Clark Place downtown to the firehouse. So it doesn't go towards the old Kmart. It goes from town to there. Anybody else have comments before we go to work session? No. So can I have a motion to adjourn the voting meeting?
So moved.
Seconded by McDonough. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, Ann.
Thanks, Ian.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ann.
So a motion to open up the work session,
So moved.
and a second. All in favor? Aye. So our first order of business is Mary Ann Maxwell, our town controller. Alan Casey is here. He's a partner with PKF O'Connor Davies, and they are going to review our annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ending 12/31/2022. And we should have the TV go the other way. We should have it there so we can see it. Both.
for me, or? Yeah, okay, good to go? Yes. Okay, very good. Good evening. Tonight I'm going to go over the financial statements for the town for the year ended December 31st, 2022. Included in the agenda, we'll go over the general fund balance, a retrospective look back, the general fund budget to actual summary, the revenues, expenditures, the other town fund summary, and some closing points. Okay. We completed our audit for 2022 financial statements of the town of Carmel, the objective of which was to obtain reasonable assurance that the financial statements are free of material misstatement. Included in the scope of the audit, our intent was to reduce the audit risks to an acceptable level, while the primary focus was not on individual transactions, but on balances on the financial statements we're opining on taken as a whole. As a result, we have issued an unmodified opinion, which is known as a clean opinion. It's the best opinion you can receive. Okay. You should all have copies in front of you of this because it may be a little hard to see. This is the fund balance of the general fund going back for the current year and 4 years. 2019, 20, 21, 22, and then the increase and decrease from 21 to 22. This is also replicated for 21 and 22 on page 56 of your financial statements. So for 2022, you had non-spendable fund balance of $412,000, which was prepaid expenditures. The restricted fund balance for retirement has not changed, and the restricted fund balance for the employee benefit accrued liability, which are your compensated absences that all employees earn, is actually based on these numbers. So there's no intent of the board to reduce it. Those were the actual numbers, 1.7 million. In addition, you have committed certain pieces of your fund balance. You've allocated $400,000 for future budgets, no change. You've increased the commitment for capital projects by $250,000 to $3,250,000. Vehicle purchases remain the same, and improvements went up by $172,000 to $1,150,000. The assigned fund balance, you have purchase orders, which are encumbrances, which are purchase orders that have been issued prior to the end of the year, December 31st, for which you haven't received the goods or services as of December 31st. So that money is encumbered, and that's $176,000. It went down a little less than $50,000 from the prior year. You've also taken $450,000 out of your total fund balance and used it to balance the 2023 budget. Last year, you appropriated $475,000, so it's a slight decrease of $25,000. Then you had your unassigned fund balance, the second number up from the bottom. At the end of 2022, it's $3,715,000, which is an increase from the prior year of $164,000. And the unassigned fund balance of $3,715,000 represents about 17% of your 2023 adopted budget. In the prior year, it was 16%. And that's definitely within the range recommended by the state controller. Okay, this is the general fund budget to actual. Again, this information is all included in your financial statements. The details for this would be on page 65. So the original budget, you have the original budget, the final budget, the actual results, and then the variance with the final budget, both positive and negative. The total revenues were originally budgeted $21,620,000, increased slightly to $21,875,000, and the actual came in at $22,341,000, generating a positive budgetary variance of almost $466,000. And the actual revenues decreased by 1% over the prior year. But because the town has conservatively budgeted their revenues every year like they have done in the past, you were still able to generate a positive variance. On the expenditure side, the original budget of $21,224,000 increased from the prior year's original budget by 2.2%, which is considered a fairly minor increase with all the contractual expenditures and so forth. The final budget was increased slightly to $23 million, and the actual came in at $20,829,000, again generating a positive budgetary variance of $2,261,000. And the overall the actual expenditures were higher by 9.5%. Again, this is the only portion of your budget that you can control. As I've said in the past, the revenues, by budgeting them conservatively, is the right thing to do, because aside from the property taxes, there's no control over the revenues, how they may come in, the sales tax and so forth. The expenditure side is where you can control the expenses, which you have done. Then you have your other financing sources and uses. That's a net number of $1,165,000, and that represents transfers out $240,000 to the highway fund, $70,000 to the garbage fund. The debt service fund is $875,000, and the debt service fund transfer out because the way you issued bonds over the years and basically have them scattered, the transfer out went down by $560,000. Okay, so basically you're not burdening the town with excess debt service in 1 year, and you have it spread out all over the life of the bonds. And then there was a transfer in from the special purpose fund for $20,000. Okay, this is the general fund budget to actual revenues, and as I said, it's on page 65 in more detail. I'm just going to go through some of the highlighted numbers. The departmental income increased by $183,000 compared to the prior year. And again, that was in engineering, inspection fees, and park and rec charges. License and permits continue to go up. Last year, you increased the budget to $842,000, and the actual came in at $1,175,000, mostly from the building, zoning, and sanitation fees. The state aid decreased by $542,000, and the mortgage tax was down to $805,000. To my point of not being able to control the revenues. But however, overall, you still had a minor negative variance in state aid of $131,000. On the expenditure side, again, I'm just going to point out some of the highlights. The general government support had a positive variance of almost $1.1 million, mostly in central data processing of $231,000, and you allocated money for contingency, and there was almost $413,000 left at the end of the year, which was not utilized. The public safety, the positive variance came in the police of $529,000. Overall, public safety had a positive variance of almost $569,000. And then the culture and rec had a positive variance of $500,000, and that was in the Parks Department of $475,000. So overall, the actual expenditures increased by less than 2% compared to 2021. These are the other funds within the town. You have your highway fund, the special districts fund, the debt service fund, capital projects fund, and the special purpose fund. As you can see, the last number, fund balance, deficit, beginning, ending, the capital projects is the only fund that's in a deficit, and that's because you have $14 million of bond anticipation notes outstanding, and they are treated as short-term borrowings as opposed to a bond, which means that when you issue a long-term serial bond, it becomes revenue when you receive the money. A ban or a bond anticipation note is not a revenue source until it is paid down. Usually they're paid down over 5 years or depending on the project. So each year that $14 million that you have outstanding at the end of 2022 gets paid down, that money will become revenue and that deficit will be eliminated. Okay? On page 93 in your financial statements is a listing of all your capital projects and where they stand at this point. And let's see. Then just to summarize, again, we issued an unmodified opinion known as a clean opinion. You submitted this report, which is probably like 120 pages, and 122 pages, excuse me. And it's known as an annual comprehensive financial report, and you've received the award for excellence in financial reporting 31 consecutive years, which is really quite an achievement. There are probably less than 24 municipalities in the state that could, have it claim the same thing. In addition, the town's maintained its AA1 rating from Moody's, which basically means an obliger has very strong capacity to meet its financial commitments. And we also issued another report which you should have received, which is known as the management letter. It's a report to those charged with governance. I can tell you that there were no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses within there. They're basically control deficiencies, which is just information for the board to consider to deal with. Nothing major. Okay? I would like to thank Mary Ann and her finance department. And fortunately, every year the audit goes very smoothly thanks to her and her staff. And we're very appreciative of that because there are some clients that are not so good and it can be a headache. So it makes this job a pleasure.
They do an excellent job. Thank you, Marion.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
If there are
Alan,
any
thank you.
questions, I'd
No,
be happy to-
thank you. All these points, these are all excellent points. So thank you for the work that your
very
firm
welcome.
does, and especially thanks to Mary Ann and your department. This whole process is every day. It's year-long. It's
Absolutely.
doing every transaction right, making sure every bill gets paid on time and appropriately. And I also just wanted to, just recognize you for this report. This is really a fantastic report. If anybody wants to know anything about the town of Carmel finances, it's in this book. I call this the Bible. This is it's an incredible document, not just the financial piece, but just the narrative piece also. It really lays out a lot of great information, and it's readable, thank God, to the non-accounting geeks in the crowd. So thank you both. Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mary Ann. Thank you, Alan, for
You're very
coming once
welcome.
again. It's always a
Yes,
pleasure.
great job.
Thank you, and your team.
Thank you.
So our second item is Police Chief Anthony Hoffman. Consider request to amend proposal for the purchase of firearm.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. If I may, just before I start that, I'd also like to congratulate ENCON Officer Franz. Our officers were also at that accident. It was quite a significant incident, and the ENCON officers, there's very few of them. There's only a couple hundred throughout the state. They do a very difficult job. They do it very well, and we're proud to work with them. So congratulations to him.
Thank you.
That being said, moving on to our one item tonight.
And your guest with you?
Oh, yes, this is Detective Kevin Anderson. I'll get to him as I progress through our presentation here. He is our senior firearms instructor in our firearms unit. The one item we have before you tonight is a request to exchange our duty pistols. I'm going to lead with the point that this will have no financial impact to the police department's budget whatsoever. So that being said, back in 2021, I went before the board to upgrade our pistols from the Glock pistols that we had for about 10 years to a Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 40 caliber pistol. In that time, we found that the stocks of 40 caliber ammunition have been becoming increasingly difficult to get. A couple reasons for that. Again, pandemic-related, unfortunately, conflict-related, the war in Ukraine, and also a significant report by the FBI back in 2016 that recommended police departments go back to a 9mm round because of advances in ballistics. They found that the 9mm round was matching the 40 caliber round in performance, and it also provided greater capacity, better accuracy for weaker shooters, and less wear and tear on the equipment. As a result, a lot of the ammunition manufacturers have retooled their factories to produce more 9mm ammunition and less 40 cal, and we're finding difficulty in finding this ammunition. So Detective Anderson, as a member of our firearms unit, did some research, contacted some of the vendors that we worked with, and we were able to work out a deal where we can trade in the 40 caliber pistols that we got for the matching pistol in 9mm. It's actually an upgrade. Over the past couple of years, they've increased the strength of the frame. They've made it an aluminum frame from the polymer one that we have. And in addition, they've also added the ability to add a holographic sight on the top of the pistol. That's something that we've included in the rifles that we got. As law enforcement progresses, they're encompassing this in the pistols, and it's something that we'd like to get as well. As far as the funding goes, with the project that we had from switching over from the Glock to the Smith & Wesson, we still had a significant amount of credit with the prior vendor, Jurek Brothers of Massachusetts. That, coupled with a DCJS Discovery grant that we received, we have enough money to cover the total cost of the project, which will be $18,769.25. So that being said, I would request that the town board offer a resolution in an amount not to exceed $19,000 to account for any potential minor discrepancies in the project, to allow us to exchange our 40 caliber pistols for 9mm pistols, Smith & Wesson pistols. So if there are any questions, Detective Anderson and I are here.
Is there an urgency to get this?
The urgency lies in our dwindling ammunition stocks.
Okay. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because what I was going to suggest is, the urgency, we can just move this resolution tonight. No? You don't want to do that?
We have sufficient ammo. I mean, by the end of the year, it's going to become more critical.
Okay.
But it's something that, with lead times, it's something that we should address now.
Okay.
When is the next round of firearms training?
It'll be this fall, I believe.
October, November.
October.
Okay. So you probably want to get them trained on the new 9mm, right?
Yeah. The last firearm session that we had in the spring, we had the officers try out the 9mm. It was very well received. They were very accurate with it. So they've been acclimatized to it. So we don't foresee a big learning curve in that regard.
Okay.
Chief, how much ammunition for the existing do you have?
We have
around 4,000 rounds of training ammunition and 2,000 rounds of duty ammunition. Like the chief said, we've had a very hard time and long lead times getting that 40 caliber ammunition, where we were able to trade in existing 45 ACP ammo for 9mm. So we already have some in stock to get the department rolling, but we're gonna need to fill that stock before we begin training.
The existing that you have, generally, how long will it take you to use that up?
This fall, we're gonna have pretty extensive training, training cycle, because switching to that red dot optic, we will require officers to maintain a 16-hour training course, so they're proficient with that firearm before they go in. So I haven't worked out the total round count per officer yet, but it'll be in the 500 to 600 rounds per officer, which in a 35-man department adds up rather quickly.
So TJ Morris will take that for the 9?
So I'm gonna trade in our existing 40 caliber ammunition for 9mm once we get closer to the move date, and then we'll purchase more.
That's what I was going to ask. And there's not going to be any difficulty acquiring the 9mm down the line, you don't think, right?
I was actually surprised in how quickly we did receive our orders. They didn't have any of the duty ammunition that we wanted in stock, and it showed up in six weeks, I believe.
Okay.
Which is far superior to the 18 months it took our last 40 caliber ammunition.
Yeah. All right, perfect, thank you.
Does the majority want to do that?
So, Supervisor,
I mean, we're not meeting again until what?
August
In
2nd, so
August
that's why I'm
4th. We're not
suggesting.
meeting till August 4th, so we can do it now. This way you don't have to wait 3 weeks.
Let's do
I
it.
appreciate that.
I don't want you all to run out of ammunition.
All right.
All right.
So you have to write something first?
No, it's, actually, it's here.
Okay.
Okay,
Thanks.
so it'd be a motion to authorize the expenditure of up to $19,000 to Jurek Brothers, Inc. of Greenfield, Mass. For the exchange of the Smith & Wesson 40 caliber duty pistols to 9 millimeters, 9 millimeter units. Okay? It'll be up to $19,000.
I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
Got a roll call that.
Yep. So,
Roll call.
Councilman Lombardi?
Councilman
Baranowski.
Oh, we go that way? We go
Yeah.
left or right?
No, no.
Here.
That's the
Baranowski
order.
going this way.
The new guy always
So-
goes
so
first.
Baranowski,
So Baranowski
Yes.
Lombardi.
and Lombardi. Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Channel?
Yes.
And
You?
I'm a yes. All right,
Perfect.
so there you go.
Thank
So
you.
you have to get new
Thank you
holsters
both.
now to hold those
That,
optics?
yes, to explain that, the holsters are actually, the PBA is going to purchase the holsters, and so we have a little cost sharing there between the PBA and the department.
Oh, that's
So the
great.
officers see the benefit in doing this, so they're shouldering
And
that.
Chief, just for the sake of what we just read for the resolution, while we authorize up to $19,000, again, just to repeat what you said, it's actually a negative, a neutral
It's-
cost.
It's a neutral cost,
Right.
it's being funded by grant money that we've already received.
So do me a favor and mention the August 1st.
Yes, yes, sir, thank you.
Explain it better than I did.
Yep,
Thanks.
because,
He was actually laughing when you were saying it.
Kevin wasn't, though.
well, because we don't have a town board meeting until after the event, this coming August 1st, the first Tuesday in August, will be our first national night out for the town of Carmel. We'll be having it at Chamber Park from 6 PM to 9 PM. It's being coordinated by our community relations team, as the supervisor said, Officer Serio and Officer Makem. They're doing a tremendous amount of work with it. They've gotten a lot of community groups together, including United for the Troops with Jim Rathschmidt, the Chamber of Commerce with Christine Picone. We've brought a lot of the community together to join with the police department to basically offer a party, if you will, for the town to celebrate the community coming together with the police, as they do around the country, as they have for 40 years. It's a nationwide event. And I'd like to invite the entire community to it. The information of it, it's been on our Facebook page. We'll put it back out again, and we'll send reminders out to the local media as well. So, again, the board is invited, and we look to have a great time there. So, thank you for letting me get that
And you
out.
want to mention what a great job that Erin and Vinny are doing.
Aaron and Vinny are doing a tremendous job
Tremendous
increasing the
job.
camaraderie between the community and the police department,
And-
so,
And the way that they've been showing up
yes.
at everything, and then
Yes.
the
Or we-
PBA showing up at all the award things, the department is just doing great. Thank you, Chief, for,
Will our four-legged star be there?
He will be there, yes, sir.
Okay, good.
And the boat,
I'm sure
too.
people are going to be asking me. Petro.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Oh, here it
both.
is. Here you go. So our third item on the work session is Richard Franzetti, PE Town Engineer. Consider request to acknowledge emergency repairs services for Carmel Water Districts number 2 and 9. Richard?
Good evening. Yes, so as you had mentioned, Supervisor, Carmel Water District 2, 50 Old Route 6, I have to apologize, the dates in my memo are wrong, so I'm going to read them correctly. So on May 31st of '23, Infomark, the operators for Carmel Water District 2, notified the department that the hydrant at 50 Old Route 6 needed to be replaced. There's an invoice in the amount of $14,906.71 for that repair. In Water District 9, on June 2nd of '23, the operators, B&J for Water 9, notified that the pump failed due to a lightning storm. All the work was done by them at a cost of $16,293.76. That was submitted for reimbursement and has been paid. So, just so you know, that went through insurance because it was storm-related, so.
Question on Water District 2. Didn't we replace all the fire hydrants when we did the water upgrade?
No, we did not. So no, we have not done that. We replaced the ones that were needed at the time, but no, a lot of them were in good shape. This one was in good shape, it's just started to leak. That's the lowest point one of the lowest points in the district on Old Route 6. A lot of pressure in that area. If you remember, if the board recalls, about 2 years ago, there was a big leak over there near the sewage treatment plant. That's just a hard area to work in, so even doing the relining that we did over there, it was challenging to do that work, so.
Okay, thanks.
Just, Rich, for the sake of the record, can you just resubmit this memo tomorrow?
I was
to-
planning on doing
Okay.
that, but yes,
Thanks.
thank you.
And Rich, are the other fire hydrants that may be replaced, are they gonna be on the asset management, so like we can kind of see, because like 15,000 is a lot? You know, like how we're keeping
Right,
track
so- Sorry.
of what should be breaking soon, so we can fund for it?
So we don't really have, we have a sense of where all our hydrants, we know where all our hydrants are, we don't have a sense of, we know where all our hydrants are. We do inspect them, we do operate them, and unfortunately, sometimes it's just age or just the way things are turned, sometimes they will just break on their own or they get hit by a vehicle. In this case, this was an older hydrant, it was in good shape when we did the work and that work there. It's not part of the asset management, because the hydrants were not identified as part of the asset management. That was just too much to put in there. But we do keep a record of where they are. I have a running record, a tally of where we're at, so.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Our operators really do stay on top of that. The most of our, sorry, not to keep being long-winded, but most of our hydrants are in Water District 2. We have some here in Water District 8. The rest of the water districts, they have the smaller flushing hydrants. Like in Water District 9, when we did that work, we replaced a lot of the flushing hydrants. So those are all new. So they're not, they're just used to make sure that the water just stays circulated. We purge the pipes twice a year. So,
Thank you.
no problem.
So next up is the consider replacement of the UV disinfectant bulbs at the microfiltration plant for Carmel Sewer District Number 2.
So Infomark, the operators of Sewer District 2, advise the engineering department that the UV disinfection bulbs controller at the microfiltration plant are beyond serviceable lifespan, and they must be replaced so as to maintain appropriate disinfection standards. As the board knows, the microfiltration facility was commissioned in operation in '09. It was part of the regulatory upgrades from New York City DEP, funded through the New York State Environmental Fund. The facility uses a combination of microfiltration elements and ultraviolet disinfection bulbs. There is a market for various amounts of these bulbs out there. Based on research, the Trojan bulbs with the Trojan controller can be expected to provide a longer life service than any aftermarket bulbs. It is a Trojan system that exists there. It is a particular manufacturer is then considered to be a sole source. The cost for the Trojan UV bulbs is $17,380. 50% of that would be paid for by the New York City DEP under the terms of our O&M agreement with them. So the cost for the town would be $8,690. These are about 3 years old. Their anticipated lifespan is about 3 years, and there are sufficient funds in the budget for this purchase. We do go through UV bulbs. Just so you know, occasionally we've had some of those bypasses due to whatever failures. The UV is what actually keeps us within compliance. So it's an integral part of the system, just so the board knows.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good night,
You
everyone.
too. Have a good
You
night.
too. See you tomorrow. So our next meeting will be Wednesday, August 2nd. Wednesday, August 2nd will be the next town board meeting, and that will be a voting meeting. After this, we are going to go to executive session. We've got a litigation update from our counsel, Gregory Fulchetti. We have Police Chief Anthony Hoffman for personnel, and I have a personnel issue to discuss with the board in executive session. So can I get a motion to close out? So moved. All in favor? Aye. All right, we'll see you, enjoy the rest of the summer.